It's a spectacular scene, that of the greatest tournament in the world outside of the slams. It is now called the NASDAQ 100 Open. And we welcome you to Thomas Johansson and Andre Agassi, this 31-year-old from Las Vegas who has had a very successful run here on Key Biscayne. He has won this tournament 4 times, Patrick.
That's right, including last year beating Jan-Michael Gamble in the final. 11-2 this year, including a win in Scottsdale, his 50th career singles title, and a loss in the final in San Jose to Leighton Hewitt in a tiebreak in the third. Thomas Johansson just one tournament win, but of course a big one at the Australian Open. 27 veteran, 16-6, #1 in the champions race thanks to that Grand Slam win. His results other than that, Cliff, have been a little spotty. Agassi trying to send an early message.
Yes.
Lost the first round. Agassi leads 3-0 last time they played in 2000. Played on hard clay and carpet. Agassi winning all 3. 4-2 there in Stuttgart. Johansson lost an opening round match to Ruzetsky in Marseille. Second round in Rotterdam, the Clement. That's since he won the Australian.
What is the message Agassi was trying to send on that first point?
I've won 7 majors, you've won 1.
Respect, huh?
Yeah, and I'm coming out with some firepower. Talking about that new coach of Andre Agassi, that's the Australian Darren Cahill.
Killer
Cahill was a very solid performer on the tour for a number of years before some knee problems forced him out pretty early.
Where these Australians get these names from? Killer, I mean. I guess it's the understatement. 30-15.
Johansson showing he's not intimidated, and he's got a pretty good game to match up with Agassi. Yes, he's lost to him 3 times, but the last time they played was about 2 years ago. Johansson pretty content to rip the ball from the back of the court. We've also seen him move in a little bit in volley. He's got a big first serve, which can win him some cheap points. There's a big serve, but look at that return.
That was 29-mile-an-hour first serve, and look at the return.
Well, that's the genius of Agassi, Cliff, right there, to take a serve like that and hit it for a clean winner with that short a swing.
It's intimidating.
It's all timing, seeing the ball.
How do the expectations of having now won a slam, everybody's looking at you, knowing full well, affect a guy like Thomas Johansson?
Well, that's what we're finding out. I mean, I think it'll take the next 6 to 9 months to really get a sense of how he handles it, Cliff. But certainly the pressures are greater. I mean, your responsibilities are more to the tour, to the media.
Deuce.
Every time you go out there and play, it's a Grand Slam champion.
That is wrong. This man, Johansson from Lindkorp, and don't hold me to this, but I think that was also Mats Wielander's home. He says that Wielander and Edberg were the 2 that inspired him the most. Borg, he said, was a little bit before his time. He used to watch some TV and videotapes of his matches, but he remembers Wielander and again Edberg.
Break point here for Agassi.
A little rushed as he takes on the Punisher, Andre Agassi. There is the introspective Agassi on where he feels he is right now in his career.
I'm at a time now where I'll take whatever I can get. I'll get better any second I can get better, and I'll try to take the victories one at a time. But you know, it's harder every year, and I want to play my best tennis in the biggest of matches. I want to be out there doing this, and I feel like I still can.
He started well the last couple of years, Cliff, particularly the last two, as you see that record through this event, but not turning it on really as well towards the end of the year. And I think Andre's focus will be more on that second half of the year this year.
You've got to mention that wrist injury that he sustained the day before the start of the Australian when he was playing Sampras. Right?
That's right, an exhibition tournament 2 days before the Australian was set to start.
In Melbourne.
He was there, hitting the ball well, looking fit, looking fresh. And surprisingly, Agassi had to pull out with that wrist problem, took a few weeks off, continue his physical training. In a weird way, Cliff, that may very well help him over the course of a long year. Because I think after the first couple months of the year, Agassi winning in Australia, winning here, winning Indian Wells was a little bit spent.
Ran out of steam.
Yeah.
30-15. The one thing I've learned, Patrick, is never to second guess what Agassi is going to do next, because he has surprised me throughout his long career. And we've been calling matches with him when he had talk about long hair.
And a lot of it. Love those old pictures of him. Good second serve there. Good kick on that serve.
I mean, think about it. He gets to 2 French finals, doesn't win. So what's the first Grand Slam he wins? On grass. Who would have thunk that? And which is the last one he wins? The French Championships a few years ago. I can win on anything. And he holds on.
Of course, Venus coming up after this match. And if Johansson doesn't get his act together here, she could be out here pretty quickly, because Agassi, look at him on his toes, hitting the ball crisp and clean, serving well. It's going to go wide.
Actually, to be really technical, Patrick, 3 o'clock start is the earliest for Venus, so that's 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay, so not before, right. Well, the good news,
I know the point you make.
The good news is there's Johansson's coach there. The good news is Magnus Tiedemann, that there are plenty other matches going on. So if Agassi does finish this off quickly, we will have live tennis for you. Henman and Federer, which is a rather mouth-watering matchup.
15-all.
Also got Alex Correia, Marcelo Rios, grandstand later. Rios, a former winner here. 15-all in this game, 2 to Agassi.
Further. 40-50.
That's a play that Johansson wants to employ as much as he can. Good solid first serve, and then look to jump on that first opportunity. Can make Agassi move quickly. It's not Andre's strength. Once Andre gets control of the point, then you're in big trouble.
14.
That's what Agassi will try to do with that big return. Johansson not happy with the call. See what our ESPN shot spot says. Whoop. Yes, Johansson has a good argument there. Right on the line.
I think these lines people are inclined to give the really huge names and players and top seeds a little break, Patrick?
No, I don't think so.
Good. Game point still for Johansson.
And Agassi jumping all over that second serve. Hits the ball so early, so flat. Just punishes a weak second serve at will. That has to worry Johansson. Punishing the first serve there.
Remember how Sampras got out to a quick start yesterday and then sort of let things slide. That's not going to happen with Agassi, is it? A different player.
Well, his the spring in Agassi's step is a lot different than we saw from Sampras yesterday.
Davis Cup captain Patrick McEnroe naming Pete Sampras to the Davis Cup team against Spain. Out of reach. That was this morning. That was a break point for Agassi, saved by Johansson. It's deuce.
Andre trying to roll that ball deep cross court, but didn't get it wide enough. Johansson able to step around it. That big loopy forehand for the winner. Loopy swing, I should say. He hit that one pretty flat. Got good margin for error, Johansson, on that forehand side. Can pull it up the line. He can roll it cross court.
Game point Johansson. Quick mention while we're promoting future tennis, Davis Cup on ESPN. That's not this weekend, the following weekend from Houston on grass.
Sampras, Roddick, Blake, and Todd Martin. Cliff named to the four-man team.
No, you just say, I named him to the team, because that's what happened. Named it to the team. That sounds like somebody else did it.
No, I did
Captain
it. You're
McEnroe,
right.
you know.
That's right. I did name it.
Biscayne.
Nicely.
See, he's not just a commentator in a pretty face.
I want to ask what else, Cliff.
ESPN's coverage of the USA versus Spain begins Friday, April the 5th. At 3 p.m. from the West Side Tennis Club in Houston. They've got all different surfaces there, but surprise, surprise, the captain shows grass.
They have the red clay court tournament there just a couple weeks later. Agassi will be there playing in the red clay. Wish he'd be there for the Davis Cup, but of course Andre not making himself available this year to play.
Wait a second, I have a question as this replay gets played out, Patrick, and that is, let's supposing the French win, which I think they will, you win, I think they will, and the French say that they're going to play against the U.S. in the Davis Cup semifinals at Roland Garros. Aren't you going to go to Andre and say, listen, Andre, here's it. Look, what? How about this?
Well, I'll certainly throw that out there. Be nice to have Agassi back in the team anytime, obviously.
Game point.
Considering all he's done.
And game to Agassi, so he's got the 3-1 lead. He's got the early break, close to getting a second. Johansson, one game so far in serving here. This is for a place in the last 8. This round of 16 men's singles. Killer Cahill, Agassi's new coach.
Of course, Cahill coached Leighton Hewitt last year, helping Hewitt achieve the #1 ranking in the world for the year. Hewitt now working with another Australian, Jason Stoltenberg. change of coaches, I was saying Cliff really hasn't hurt Leighton Hewitt too much.
No, it sure hasn't. I mean, we joked about, I still love that line, so can I repeat it? I mean,
Sure,
he
about
wants to
Rios?
yeah, wanted to go, I got to #1 in the world, they wanted to go in another direction, so changed his coach. It's not going to happen to Hewitt. Hewitt and Agassi have already played once this year. Very close match, San Jose, won by Hewitt.
Big difference when Agassi doesn't really attack that return. Mid-court ball, and Johansson, we've seen him hit the forehand winner, also showing that with the two-hander he can do it. Look how he moves in the court well. He's similar to Agassi in that way, Johansson. He knows how to move in, take the ball a little bit earlier. Does not have quite the firepower off the ground, but the consistency that Agassi has. But he can step inside the court and hit winners from both sides. That's where Andre has the edge on Johansson with those shorter backswings. He has that ability to take the ball even earlier. Doesn't need all the time that Johansson needs to create that swing on the forehand. One of the reasons why Agassi has got one of the best returns ever. Ability to take the ball early, short backswing, see the ball, hip rotation. Yeah, Johansson pressing.
It's not been a great year for him after the Australian for Johansson in Marseille. He lost to Greg Ruzetsky there, and that was in the first round. Rotterdam, indoor hardcourt, lost to Arnaud Clément, and Younes El Anaoui beat him in Dubai in the semis. Indian Wells, Enquist in the first round. So that Australian Open Grand Slam momentum has not kicked in, if it's going to, for Johansson. Break point.
You know, until he won that slam, Cliff, I mean, Johansson was a solid, I mean, more than a solid player, a very good player, a guy sort of hovering between 15 and 20, between 10 and 20 in the rankings, always knocking on the door. Question is, will he take his game to another level and be more of a top 10 guy, or will he, you know, have won that slam, which is an incredible accomplishment, obviously, and just sort of stay in that area where he spent most of his career?
I suspect you think the latter, Patrick, because that's my tendency.
Well, what do you think?
I think that. I just said that's my.
Oh.
Finish the sentence, you know.
Well, you're trying to finish my sentence, but you're reading my mind over there, Cliff. No, I agree with you. I think he would. I don't think he has the firepower to be a guy who's consistently competing for majors.
Game point for Johansson. He's down 3-1. He was down a break point in this game. So he's been in trouble actually on all his serve games, but Agassi has broken him once so far. Players will change ends. They'll take a break. We will too. 3-2 Agassi. He'll serve when we come back.
Cliff, there's a reason why Agassi's only lost 1 point in his first couple of service games. Our shot spot shows you the direction of his first serve that has gone in play. And look at the placement on these serves. Look at that, all on the line or just inside the line. This one up the middle, very close to the line in the corner. Another one right in the corner. And then look at this, out wide with the kick. There only that one serve that's really been in a hittable zone for Johansson. what happened there. So that's why Agassi only lost 1 point, just lost his second.
That was his. That was the first serve, and
Yep.
I guess he thought the serve was long. Anyway, he didn't play the point, and should have.
Just lost his second point on serve right there.
Love 30 chance here for Johansson.
And a big difference in the direction of those two serves. I mean, they weren't in the corner. And that allowed Johansson to immediately get into the point. Didn't give Agassi the upper hand in the rally. So now he's down love 30. There's the direction that he was getting the first couple of games. Agassi really uses his legs, and the legs are what help him hit those good serves out wide, because you have to get it over a higher part of the net and get a little more action on the ball when you go to serve wide. Agassi not happy with that call.
Listen, it's the second first serve in a row. Just don't get happy out here.
I'm not happy.
Please, please.
I'm just correcting its mistake.
No, mishit there. He's not in a good mood for the moment, Agassi, complaining there in the last point of the chair ump. Now break points for Johansson. Oh, that's a nice change of direction there for Agassi. He hits the ball, as we said a million times, so early and with such control. Still break point for Johansson. Oh, he missed it. Turned out the drop shot was the right play. Tomorrow night he is. Thomas Johansson says, I love to see ice hockey matches when Sweden play in the World Championship or the Olympic Games, something like that. He is very much, no surprise, into ice hockey.
Wouldn't have been too happy with the Swedes did in the Olympics this year. One of the favorites. They bombed out.
15 love.
Agassi rattled a little bit now.
Yeah,
a couple
he
of
is.
unforced errors. Let those couple of calls bother him. That drop shot that Johansson played wasn't that good either, Cliff.
No.
Agassi was there in plenty of time and overhit it.
No, I thought it was a questionable play when he did it, but he got away with it. 11 errors to 5.
But Johansson with more winners too, 10-6 in that department. Good kick on that serve, got away from Agassi.
Doesn't the match turn on sometimes on so small a thing? And this one has.
It can. Saw the way that serve kicked, a little extra spin on that.
Agassi's mood was from up now to down. Game points Johansson. And the danger today is maybe you can't afford those lapses. We'll find out. Agassi now, for the first time, trailing in the match. But we're on serve. He'll serve 3-4. You are cordially invited to what has become my territory down here in South Florida, at least part of it anyway. Welcome everyone to Miami. Our aerial views, courtesy of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Overhead is the Goodyear's blimp Stars and Stripes, continuing a 76-year tradition as the aerial ambassador and icon of the 102-year-old company. You know, there's certain places where you can take that Goodyear blimp, which is, it's always nice to have, you know, but you take a nice stadium downtown LA, for example, not quite the same as beautiful Key Biscayne.
Well, you always know you're at a big event when the blimp shows up.
15.
Oh, that's... Oh, did Agassi get away with one there?
Yes, he did.
What a terrible backhand volley there. Had the whole court. He just pushed it into the court. He bombed this forehand here. Johansson had a nice long look at this pass, and Agassi redeems himself with a nice little dropper.
Yeah, Johansson had all sorts of opportunity. So many things he could have done with that passing shot. Anyway, Agassi showing enough enthusiasm to come through. Now he's up in this game, 30-15, down 3-4 first set. We're live, stadium court at the NASDAQ.
Rushing a little bit, Agassi. Throwing in his second double. When you start struggling a little bit, you want to slow down. If you're ahead and you're playing well, then you can rush a little bit. Keep the momentum going. Some players, particularly young players, have that tendency to rush when things aren't going well and not take their time, towel off, fiddle with your strings a little bit, look at the balls. Just to slow the pace down, the tempo of the match.
No.
Good pace and depth there from Johansson. So he's not intimidated by the pace. We saw that in the final in Australia against Safin. I guess he's got to move him around a little bit more. He's going to that forehand return out wide. In fact, both players looking to do that pretty consistently in the deuce court.
Very different personalities, these two. One is the showman, outgoing, gives a great interview. Andre Agassi, he likes the spotlight. And he's the artist of the two. Johansson, on the other hand, is much more low-key, modest, introspective, quiet. 10-point Agassi. Now, having said that, Patrick, as Agassi holds on.
A shot spot on the Johansson first serve. It's sort of interesting here what Johansson is doing with his first serves. Look at this. In the deuce court, almost all of his serves into the Agassi forehand side. He can hurt you with that forehand, Andre, but he can make more mistakes. He just says one of them up here down the middle, just to get a couple here down the middle to keep Agassi honest. Let's see what he does in the ad court. The first serves, again, that have gone in play. Quite a few up the middle to the forehand again. Good wide serve there, one to the body. Another one where he'd probably missed his target, though pretty good in the corner there. So those are Johansson serves. Comes back live with the drop shot winner.
Another serve into the forehand side. 15-love Johansson at 4 games all.
Broken early, but since then it's been pretty effective both with the first and second serve. That's a great number for second serve points against the Agassi return. So that forehand really break down for Agassi last week in the desert in Indian Wells against Kratchville. And Andre struggling with the dry conditions there where the ball really flies. Forehand error there. There's that serve again out wide. It's tougher when you have that big Western grip on the forehand to be as consistent on the return. You don't have as much time, particularly on the first serve, which is coming with more pace. the backhand, the two-handers, both these guys two-handers, is easier to just block it back.
Game point. (40-15). 4-all first set.
40-15.
At stake here, final 8 of this Tennis Masters Series event, the NASDAQ 100 Open.
Game, Johansson.
Again, wide to the forehand works. 5-4, Johansson on serve. They've traded breaks. Agassi will serve when we come back. Pretty sight, isn't it? 5-4, Johansson. Agassi to serve. Venus Williams up next. Now continuing coverage here of the NASDAQ 100 Open. She will take on Elena Demencheva, former U.S. Open semi-finalist, the young Russian, taking on the #2 seed, Venus Williams, who may be #1 in the world if she wins the tournament.
15.
Depends on the outcome of Capriati's matches as well. Patrick, if you probably don't remember the days of Kramer, Gonzalez, Hode, Rosewall, Lever. They used to play matches against each other in the hundreds, you know.
Yeah, they used to play those barnstorming matches, the tours. I didn't see too many of those, no.
But if we brought those days back, there's a question coming. And it was Leighton Hewitt and Andre Agassi in 100 who'd starting now and going for the rest of the year. Who'd win?
100 matches?
Yep. Different surfaces. Different.
All different?
Yeah.
Wow.
30 love Agassi.
Different surfaces. Let's see. Sorry, let's say you played, say just for the sake of argument, you played 30 on hard, 30 on clay.
30 on grass.
30 on grass. The other 10 you throw in, I don't know, some indoor surface.
I think it's a testament to Agassi that you think so hard.
Yeah. I think it'd probably be about a 60-40 edge for Hewitt right now.
That's exactly what I would have said. Game point, Agassi.
That match, I mean, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw quite a bit of the highlights of that one they played in San Jose. It was just
terrific.
What a struggle. What points. 7-6 in the third. Hewitt won it. Agassi had a couple of match points. Good serve there. Good second serve from Agassi and a good hold to even up this set at 5 apiece.
5 games.
Reminder that the winner of this match takes on Nicolas Lapenti in the next round. He took out Adrian Voinea, as you saw if you joined us at the top of the hour.
Well, whoever wins this one should have, no disrespect to Nicholas, but they should have a pretty routine matchup, I would think, against Lapenti on this court. Especially Agassi has really worked over Lapenti a few times they've played. Talk about comparing Hewitt to Agassi, and another great, Cliff. This is a titles they won by the age of 21. Hewitt even with Andre now. Sampras had won 18 in the slams. Sampras had won the U.S. Open. And Hewitt's won the U.S. Open. Agassi hadn't won one just yet. Wonder if Hewitt will have the longevity that Agassi has had. I bet Hewitt will be more consistent over at least the first half of his career.
That won't be hard.
Right. Andre had that. I don't think Hewitt will be dropping down to 141.
15 all, 5 games all. The surgeon. Agassi loses the point. What a pass there from Johansson.
Even Agassi's coach has to clap on that one. Killer Cahill. See, these Aussies, they're good old blokes, aren't they? Look at Andre, has him on the string. Takes it up the line, and this is sort of the squash shot, Cliff.
Yeah.
Look at the court coverage here from the Swede. He does everything well, Johansson. By the way, that's a huge point there, Cliff.
Huge point.
You lose it, you're down 15-30 at 5-all.
Now it's game point for Johansson. You got that right. You're watching live coverage here of the NASDAQ 100 Open. Welcome to Miami, everyone. This is the men's singles for a place here in the last 8 of this championship, and it is a Tennis Masters Series event, the 2nd of the year. Australian Open champ Thomas Johansson and Andre Agassi, enough said, from the USA. 5-all. That's wide now. Deuce. First set. Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe alongside. The winner will play Nicholas Lepenti. Agassi, the holder of this title. He won it last year over Jan-Michael Gamble.
You know, the sign of someone that's committed, Cliff, and willing to work is a guy who comes back in games when they're down. And Agassi's done that a couple of times in this set. And 40-15 down in this game. He's staying with every point. Now he has a chance to serve out the set if he can break here.
Ooh, got a good deep return.
One of the few times you see Agassi a little lackadaisical with the feet there. Didn't get up to that ball.
Pressure sometimes sort of makes the feet a little heavier. Of course, he's been there before. Deuce.
Yeah, but it still happens, doesn't it? Now the pressure of the Agassi return. Johansson also looking up at the sun, which is in a difficult position right now. But trust me, it's more the Agassi than the sun. Another break point for the A-Train. Well, there is a little tension there from Agassi. Just trying to put that return in play. And taking a deep breath there. He knows. Have the experience, knows how to try to get himself out of it, but keep moving. Bouncing around. Concentrate on the details. Just meet the ball. Good depth there, and Johansson, he can get a little negative at times.
He's looking over the sun, yeah. Patrick, too. It's not a good time to be there.
Well, then what you should do is you should take a little bit off the first serve and spin the first serve in, kick it in a heavy serve, not keep going for big first serves.
Break point again. I guess he's had 5. This is his 6th, and he's only broken once. So Agassi gets the break to the delight of the crowd, and to the delight of those who come to visit Key Biscayne, this is just a few moments away. That guy's Ricky Williams there. He's going to take the Dolphins all the way next year.
Agassi serving for the set now, 6-5. Working hard to get that break in the previous game. Another serve out wide, but this time Agassi gets burned. But look at Agassi's first serves that have gone in play. Or I'll show it to you after this next point. A new shot spot.
About 15. Agassi doesn't want to see a tie break here. I hate it when other people say stuff like that, so let me take that back. Of course he doesn't want to see a tie break because he wants to win the set. But he has been so bad in tie breaks this year. He's played 7 of them and lost 6 of them. 15 all.
The only sets he's lost this year, Cliff, have been tie breaks. .120 miles per hour there. That's big heat for Agassi. I mean, he rarely hits one in the 120s. Good work by Johansson there, moving Agassi around. Excellent dipper there. Agassi playing some defense, trying to buy himself a little time with that chipper. Andre forced to go for the desperation up the line winner. 6-5, 30 all. There's that wide one again. Set point now for Agassi. Really using those legs well on that first serve. Agassi serving at 73% with that first serve. And the kicker out wide sets that up for Andre.
Very clean play to finish it up there from Agassi. The first set is over, 7-5. He's playing for a place in the last 8 of the NASDAQ 100. So Andre Agassi has won the first set 7-5, and the tournament officials are very happy when Andre Agassi does well. Now there's a guy.
So are we, by the way, Cliff. Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Butch Buckles. You know him very well. He's the one who stands up there. He gets all of the kudos for everything, makes all the speeches. But there's another guy, his brother, who actually does all the work. Has done for a long time. His name is Cliff Buckles. Welcome to you, Cliff.
Thanks, Cliff.
And congratulations, first of all, on an unbelievably successful tournament, Cliff. And secondly, this is your last year. How come you're retiring?
That's correct. Well, I've got some other challenges ahead of me. I've done it for 20 years. It's been a great 20 years, and I'm engaged, and so I'm going to
engaged to be married.
Marriage coming up.
That's what it is. It's always that.
I'd make some changes in my life and go in another direction.
Talk about some of the changes to this tournament over the years, Cliff.
Well, the quality of tennis has never been better. And I think not just in the men's game, which we're watching right now, but in the women's game. In fact, that perhaps has been the biggest change that we've seen.
Tell us a little bit, Cliff, as we get ready to start the second set here, about, because there's such a history to this event and how you guys started it so long ago, and you moved locations a couple of times. You had the hurricane one year. I mean, you've been through so much over these 20 years. Just give us a little taste of how it all started.
Well, as you know, 20 years ago, we started working on the tournament, and Butch was working for the ATP at the time, and I was running tennis schools and tennis clubs, and Butch said, let's try to do a men's and women's tennis event. It hasn't been done for about 100 years. It shouldn't be a problem. And we went ahead and got it started. It was tough at the very beginning. We had a lot of support from the players, from the ATP and the WTA, and it ended up being one of the top tournaments in the world, and we're thrilled with it.
First game, second set. It's love 30. Johansson in trouble. Who is the biggest star that ever walked on your stadium court?
other than you, Cliff, and you played, of course.
Well, we know how much your brother takes from Cliff on the golf course.
That's right. We've had so many great stars, and the Williams sisters today are terrific to watch. Andre Agassi, even when he was down at 140 in the world, he was still recognized as probably one of the top stars we've ever had. So we've been fortunate. Right from the very beginning, we had all the top players play, and as I said earlier, the quality of tennis has never been better.
That first set seems to have set Agassi on a course that is going to please him.
Come on, Johansson getting a little bit negative here to start this second set. Agassi, look at all the break point opportunities he's had. Here's number 7.
And
you might see that little jog to the side, if Andre gets to break here to send that message. He just sprint to the side after that.
Running forehand, clean winner, pulled cross court. Tonight on ESPN, the Owens Corning NIT down to the final 4, 2 semifinal games at 7 and at 9 Eastern. First Temple taking on Memphis, then Syracuse and South Carolina. Owens Corning NIT on ESPN.
And Agassi just blitzing this return, and then look at this shot on the dead run. That's an incredible 1-2 punch from Agassi. Cliff, where can this tournament go? I mean, it's so successful, as Cliff keeps calling it the 5th major, and obviously is. What can it do to get better?
Well, one of the things that we're doing this year, which has been our first, is we have a junior tournament. We have the top young players in the world. They'll start tomorrow, and I think that's a nice addition to the tournament, getting to watch the top young players play and prepare for this kind of competition.
Well, a lot of them probably aren't that far away either, as you see, particularly in the women's game, the younger players starting earlier and earlier. It's nice for the fans too to have some other matches going on once there aren't as many matches on the outside courts.
That's correct. In fact, we had 2 of the girls actually played in the main draw.
That's the first point Thomas Johansson has won here in the second set. Breaker serve to Agassi. He's serving at 15 all, and he's up 1 set.
Well, Johansson takes advantage of the short ball here. He's got to try to do some more damage to Agassi more quickly in the points. Agassi now starting to brim with confidence. He's serving so well. Beautiful angle there, and the percentage has been what's key for Agassi. 76%. He's not just spinning it in. So Johansson camp there. Celebrated down under that big win in the slam.
30-15. Played 3 times, these two, and Agassi has never lost to Johansson.
Agassi-like return there. Takes it early, right inside the baseline. Short backswing.
Leighton Hewitt going to win your singles this year, Cliff?
Well, he may have some competition from Andre here if Andre goes ahead and wins this match.
What about James Blake today, Cliff? Come on.
James Blake, yeah. And so he's got some tough competition ahead of him. He's had a couple tough matches already.
He's the ultimate tournament director. Listen to this, Cliff. He's almost as on the fence as much as you are. He should take his hat off after that, because he just pushed that volley.
Game point Agassi.
This is the hustle of Agassi. This is what's been the different Agassi the last 3-4 years. Look at this. Hustling to get to that and make him hit a tough volley. Well, that wasn't that tough. He should have made that. But it's that hustle that causes your opponent to maybe miss that next one, because they know you're going to run it down.
Patrick, he has improved his serve, as you mentioned earlier. And it's sort of interesting, a player that's been playing as long as he has to be able to improve his serve.
To take and to put the time in, and to get all the success that he's had, to go out there and work on it. And of course, now he doubles. You had to say something, Cliff.
Cliff Buckles, you have been a great tournament chairman. We wish you very much great success in the rest of your life and your upcoming marriage, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Cliff. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Cliff. This is
Thanks,
great.
Patrick.
We love coming down here every year. It's a wonderful event.
Deuce.
Agassi.
Game point Agassi, and Johansson not happy with a call.
Game.
Authoritatively put away by Agassi on that ace, and he leads by 2 games to love. First set to Agassi 7-5. He got the early break, was broken back. Bit of an ornery mood for a little while in that first set, but hung on. Broke at the right time and held for 7-5. Now he's up 2 games to love.
Let us.
Steffi Graf's mom, Heidi, watching this match.
Haven't seen Steffi out here, but she's maybe over taking care of Jaden Gill, of course, their young son. Andre said that it's been remarkable having her support and pushing him to keep going these last couple years of his career.
Is she going by Steffi Graf or
Stephanie.
or Stephanie Agassi?
Oh, no, I think Graf. Don't quote me on that, but see the shot spot on that attempted pass, a good call.
15 all. No.
15.
Serving again from the sun's side, and it has not been kind to him. Double fault, 15-30, down 2 games to love in the second and down a set.
Second serve is really starting to hurt Johansson now. Agassi really attacking it. That time he wins it, but remember earlier his numbers were even on the first and second serve points won. And now that stat is starting to change. Johansson hits the winner here. But overall, he's below 50% now on those second serve points. 13 of 28.
30 all. First serve percentages for the Swede are really dismal. Giving it a little too much air. That one just stood right up.
A little too casual there. Killer Kale is okay. That's not the one we're looking for. Especially at 30 all, when you have a chance to go up that second break to really put this match away. Just I guess he's shaking his head, brain cramp there.
Game point.
I mean, things are going well, but not that well. All the doubles is 4 now from Johansson. They've all come on that side.
Yeah.
2 in that game that he lost serve at the end of the first set. Now a couple more here.
Hot and humid today here in South Florida.
That makes it much more difficult to come back when you're down a set.
Deuce.
Find that energy, because you got to expend more energy when you're behind. And now that he's down a break here, I look at Agassi, only one error so far in this second. I think Agassi will be trying a drop shot on this point.
Still upset about that.
He learns from his mistakes.
His nickname, Dre, The Rock, Andres.
The Rock, the Punisher, the Dominator. There's been a few. When you're out there that long, you can get more than one nickname.
I don't mean what we call him. I mean, what are the guys in the locker room?
Mr. Agassi.
Game.
Mr. Agassi.
There's the job. I knew it was coming.
Mr. Agassi. 3 games in the second, 2 breaks. How great a view is that of this stadium here? We're under Agassi. Lead 7-5 and 3 games to love. Venus Williams up next year. Live coverage against Elena Demencheva of Russia coming up next. Pam Shriver, Mary Jo Fernandez chomping at the bit for that one. Shayla's having a good year, isn't he?
Gaudio retiring there. Must have got to find out what happened there. 4-3 in the Shayla's had some incredible wins here. Roddick. Beat him. Beat someone big yesterday too. Another result here. Lepenti winning earlier, 6-3 in the third. Federer up an early break on Henman, 5-2.
When Ignacio took out Nicolas Escudé.
Escudé, that's right. Henman getting some treatment out there on the grandstand as well.
Game points for 4-love for Agassi, and he is now beginning to work Johansson over mercilessly.
But once he lost that first set, Johansson, it's just his attitude's not been nearly as good in the second, right from the beginning. Agassi just getting out the steamroller now.
Stay right there because it's Venus Williams coming up, and then tonight please join us for sisters.
Agassi going to the new racket because they're changing balls here.
Pam and Mary Jo are sitting here, so they're not on headsets. But who are we favoring here tonight? Who are we going for? Serena? Okay. Mary Jo goes for him.
She said she has a chance. She didn't say she was going for her.
Were you telling her not to sit on the fence? Now you allow it. That goes long. Johansson 15-love, but he is down 4 games to love and a set.
Good chipper D there from Agassi, and he had that lob set up. Just didn't quite get enough spin on it. The Williams sisters have been pretty dominant down here, haven't they, Cliff? In the quarterfinals, at least 4 of the last 5. Of course, Venus winning that thriller last year against Capriati.
Game point, Johansson.
Game, Johansson.
So Johansson is on the board in the second. Players will change ends with Agassi leading 4-1, 2 breaks. He'll serve when we come back. He won the first set 7-5.
I'm talking about the excellent serving from Agassi, up a set and 2 breaks here against the Australian Open champ. Let's take a look with our shot spot at the Agassi aces. That one out wide, couple that one right on the line. Beautiful direction placement. This one up the middle at 108. You see the speed on them, 104, slider up the middle. And one out wide, 112. That's where Agassi's come up with his 6 aces.
Cliff Drysdale, Patrick McEnroe alongside. We're watching Andre Agassi here take on Thomas Johansson, who's the Australian Open champ. First set to Agassi, 7-5. Second set, he leads 4-1. He's got 2 breaks of serve. He's serving at 15 love here. Winner plays Nicholas Lepenti for a spot in the last 4 this year to get into the final 8 of this second Tennis Masters Series of the year. Team ace.
Place number 7 there.
Again, that wide serve into the forehand side, that's worked for both of them. Agassi at 40 love. He's cruising now. Agassi holds on. Talking about cruising, Thomas Johansson is a car nut. Porsches, Ferraris, Mercedes. By the way, Mercedes making the announcement of the ATP Tour that they signed on for another 4 years as a major sponsor, and we're told that they figured, or their people did, that tennis is the second most widely watched sport internationally. The second after soccer. 5-1 Agassi. Go.
Well, up 5-1, you might as well take a chance. Look to just run around second serve. Tim Henman has been forced to retire out there in the grandstand against Roger Federer.
First time he's lost to him.
There was 4-0 Henman coming into the encounter today. Magnus Tiedemann, the coach and fiancé of Johansson. Here's that grandstand score was 6-2, and then Henman retiring. Got to find out what happened in both those matches, where the Gaudio as well. Seems like it was Henman's neck.
It was yesterday.
Well, yeah, I saw Larry Stefanki in the locker room as coach, and he just said he was having some trouble with that neck. Game points.
So Johansson holds on. We'll find out how much longer, though, he will be alive in this tournament, because Agassi will serve for the match, leading 5-2 when we come back. From high above, these pictures are from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. Each year, the Goodyear Blimp visits over 100 communities, participates in dozens of telecasts, major sporting events. This is one of them. It's the second Tennis Masters Series. It's called the NASDAQ 100 Open, and on display is Andre Agassi taking on Thomas Johansson.
Agassi winning the first point, setting it up with another wide serve. 3 points from the quarterfinals. An excellent second serve there. Good depth, good kick, good direction. All that forcing Johansson to miss it.
30 love. That's strong, and he's got now match points. To play Nicholas Lapenti. A little hiccup there in the middle of the first set, Patrick. Outside of that, pretty good display from Agassi.
Very solid display, and he did handle that little hiccup well. He got his concentration back quickly, pumping his fist over to his coach, Darren Cahill, and Agassi recovering well from that opening round loss last week in Indian Wells, hitting the ball cleanly, moving well, and really served well. And I'm anxious to hear what he has to say about how well he served in this match. So this is how it looks now. A great looking draw, I'll tell you, for Agassi, because all these guys in this section are baseliners, and I don't know if they can really threaten Agassi if Agassi's playing well. He'll play Lapenti next.
Andre Agassi is a quarterfinalist at the NASDAQ 100. Andre Agassi is a man who needs a security. A winner here, 7-5 in the first set, then 6-2. A little bit of a hiccup there in the first set. Other than that, pretty clean, Andre.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to where credit's due. I think Thomas, played a good first set, and, he stayed with it and got the break back there in the middle of the first, and, then we battled it out. But I think he lost a little concentration and managed to get the lead and close it out.
You seemed like, Andre, you came out with some good intensity. I mean, even the first point of the match, you really attacked the second serve he hit. Is that you getting up for playing a guy who's just won his first slam and you maybe want to make a little statement there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, there's a couple things going on there. I mean, first of all, all credit to him for a great start this year. I mean, winning down under is a phenomenal accomplishment. So you come out here with certainly a lot of respect for the way he's been playing. But also, too, he has a big first serve. His second serve, you have a look at his second serve. So I figured, maybe I could get him to start missing a few first, take a few chances, be aggressive, move my feet, work hard, and just hope for the best.
Andre, we've been talking about the Higueras factor where Pete is concerned. You've also got a new coach. Let's talk about the killer Cahill factor with you.
Well, go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Well, how's he changed things for you?
Well, I don't know. I think a sign of a good coach is somebody that comes in trying to understand how things work. I mean, I've been out here a long time, and I think Darren has shown a lot of respect for all the work that I've done throughout my career, especially the last 8 years with Brad. So he's been very respectful of that. He's done as much learning as I have, and we're developing a good working relationship out here. And I think it's a great thing. I think he knows a lot about the game, and he puts his head down and does a great job.
Do you think, Andre, that missing the Australian this year, because you won it the previous 2 years, and you had a couple of good looks last year in the rest of the majors that you faltered in, do you think that in a way this might help you for the French, for Wimbledon, for the Open, to try to crack that this year and win one or two of those?
Well, I hope so. You always try to use setbacks as a way to make yourself stronger. I mean, it was definitely a letdown not playing in Australia this year. I was very much looking forward to that. It's been a great place for me to especially to get started, for the year. But now that I missed it, I have a lot of energy I'm burning. I feel like I'm jumping out of my shoes out here looking for some high level competition, and I'm finding it day after day. And I look forward to the French. There's no question about it. I think somewhere in there I'll use it as a stepping stone.
And where does marriage and fatherhood fit into this whole equation? You work as hard, Andre? Is it as easy to work as hard?
I think so. I think you just, I don't think it's about necessarily working harder. It's about working smarter. And I think when you have less time to give to something, you become a lot more efficient with it. I'm not confused as to what it takes to be ready to get out here and compete with these guys. So I definitely go out in the practice court and go into my training sessions with that in mind. But there's no question when I get away from the game, I definitely get away from it. And I think in many respects that helps.
Quick word on Lapenti before we go.
Well, he's a talented player, obviously playing well. I mean, he has a real sneaky first serve and a big forehand, especially when he's set. And he's going to run down a lot of balls. He's going to make me play well start to finish, and that's certainly nothing less than I'm expecting coming into this week. So go out here tomorrow and hopefully have another good one.
Well done, Andre. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck, Andre. Well done.
Thanks, Patrick.
Lost 8 of the championship, and Andre Agassi, the number 9 seed, is in it. He took out Thomas Johansson of Sweden, Australian Open champ. More live coverage after this.